Welcome to the new video of Crypto Coin, where we uncover the rarest and most valuable coins in history. Today, we're diving into three incredible Australian coins from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the 1969, 1974, and 1975 issues, that can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. Narrator. First up, the 1969 Australian coin. While millions were minted, collectors know that rare proof and high-grade examples are extremely valuable. Some flawless versions have been sold for impressive amounts, making this coin a prized possession in numismatic circles. Narrator. Next is the 1974 coin. This year is highly sought after due to limited mintage and condition rarity. In auctions, top-graded specimens can reach jaw-dropping prices, making it one of the most expensive Elizabeth II coins of its era. Narrator. And finally, the 1975 Australian coin. This issue is incredibly scarce in pristine quality, with collectors worldwide willing to pay premium amounts for a well-preserved piece. It stands among the most valuable Elizabeth II coins minted in Australia. Narrator. So, whether it's 1969, 1974, or 1975, these coins remind us that history and rarity are what truly make them treasures. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries. One Step the year 1969 holds a fascinating chapter in Australian numismatic history, especially for collectors of Elizabeth II coins. While many people consider the 1960s as a decade of transition for Australian currency, the coins of 1969 have gained a special place among collectors due to their rarity, unique features, and sometimes even minting errors. The most expensive 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coin is not just a simple piece of metal, but a highly treasured artifact that tells the story of Australia's coinage, the monarchy's influence, and the evolution of currency design. In today's video, we are going to dive deep into the history, rarity, and value of the most expensive 1969 Elizabeth II coin from Australia, exploring why collectors pay such high prices for this piece, how it is graded, and what makes it stand out among others in numismatic history. When we look back at the 1969 Australian coins, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin dominates the obverse side. This portrait was introduced in 1966 and remained a strong representation of the young queen throughout the 1960s and early 1970s. Collectors highly value coins that display crisp, clear details of the queen's profile, as many coins circulated heavily during that time, resulting in worn surfaces. The quality of preservation has a huge influence on the price, with pristine uncirculated coins being much rarer than those that pass through everyday hands. For example, while most 1969 coins may only be worth a small fraction in average circulated condition, a superbly preserved proof or rare error coin can fetch thousands of dollars at auctions. One of the standout aspects of the 1969 Australian coinage is the 50-cent piece, which by that time had transitioned from its earlier round silver design of 1966 to the dodecagonal copper-nickel version that became standard. Collectors are particularly interested in proof issues from 1969, as they were struck in limited numbers for presentation sets. These proof coins are produced with polished dies and highly detailed finishes, making them rare treasures today. The scarcity of surviving sets in perfect condition drives their value significantly higher. A complete 1969 proof set can already be expensive, but when individual coins are graded by professional services and achieve high marks, such as PF68 or PF69, their value soars in the collector's market. Another fascinating aspect lies in the mint errors of 1969. Error coins are among the most sought-after items in numismatics, and the 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coins are no exception. Errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, and die cracks can dramatically increase the coin's value. Imagine holding a coin that left the Royal Australian Mint with a striking mistake, making it truly one of a kind. Collectors will pay a premium for these unusual coins, with some rare errors from 1969 selling for several thousands of dollars, depending on rarity and condition. These mistakes, rather than being considered flaws, actually enhance the collectability of the coins and make them prized possessions for numismatists. Let us also not forget the role of historical context in driving the value of the 1969 Australian Elizabeth II coins. This was a period just a few years after Australia had switched from pounds, shillings, and pence to the decimal system in 1966. Coins minted in the early years of decimal currency hold a nostalgic charm and represent a major national transition. For many Australians, coins like those from 1969 remind them of their youth and the novelty of the new currency. Collectors worldwide see these coins as key milestones in modern numismatic history, adding to their desirability and value. Condition, of course, is everything in numismatics. A 1969 Elizabeth II coin in average circulated condition might only fetch a modest amount, but in uncirculated or mint state, the story changes dramatically. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC have certified examples of 1969 Australian coins that have achieved top grades, and these coins can sell for incredible amount at auctions. The higher the grade, the sharper the details, and the more lustrous the coin appears, the higher the demand. Collectors are willing to compete fiercely for the best preserved examples, pushing prices into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One particularly rare and valuable coin from 1969 is the proof 20-cent piece. These coins were not meant for general circulation and were struck with great care for collectors. The 20-cent proof coin of 1969 is extremely rare in top condition and has sold for record-breaking amounts at auctions. Similarly, the proof 50-cent coin, with its unique dodecagonal shape and striking finish, is also highly prized. A single coin like this, when graded perfectly, can sometimes reach a value that astonishes casual collectors. The fascination with the 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coins also lies in their design elements. On the reverse side, coins like the 20-cent feature Stuart Devlin's platypus, while the 50-cent shows the Australian coat of arms. These designs are iconic representations of Australian identity and wildlife, making the coins not just monetary units but miniature works of art. Collectors are drawn not only to the rarity and condition, but also to the cultural significance represented in these designs. Each coin is a small but powerful reminder of Australia's heritage and national pride. When talking about the most expensive 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coin, we must also highlight the role of auctions. Auction houses like Noble Numismatics in Australia and international platforms have seen fierce bidding wars over rare examples from this year. In some cases, prices have exceeded expectations, setting records and confirming the strong demand for these coins. For example, a 1969 proof set in pristine condition can easily sell for thousands, and an individual high-grade proof coin may fetch even more. Error coins with dramatic visual appeal often spark intense interest, leading to remarkable sale prices. Collectors also consider rarity in terms of survival rate. While thousands of coins were minted in 1969, not all survived in collectible condition. Many were used in daily transactions, scratched, or lost. Those that remain in high-grade conditions are exceedingly rare, which adds to their value. Proof issues had smaller mintages to begin with, and many of them have since been mishandled, making untouched examples even scarcer. This rarity factor plays a huge role in determining the market price and explains why the most expensive 1969 Elizabeth II coins are so highly prized today. For those who wish to start collecting coins from 1969, it is essential to understand the market. Not every coin from that year is worth a fortune, but knowing what to look for can make all the difference. Pay attention to mint marks, errors, proof issues, and overall condition. Research auction records to get an idea of what certain coins have sold for in the past. And most importantly, handle coins carefully and consider professional grading to preserve their value. Even a small scratch can significantly lower a coin's worth, so preservation is key. As we explore deeper, it becomes clear that the most expensive 1969 Elizabeth II Australian coin is much more than a piece of money. It is a collector's dream, a piece of art, a historical token, and a cultural symbol. Its value is not only in its rarity or condition, but also in the story it tells. The journey from minting at the Royal Australia. Two-step in today's video, we are diving into the fascinating world of Australian numismatics as we uncover the story of one of the most intriguing and valuable coins from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II the 1974 Australian issue. Collectors all over the world recognize that not all coins are created equal, and while millions of coins were minted for everyday use, a small fraction stand apart because of their rarity, condition, and unique history. The 1974 Australian Elizabeth II coin is a prime example of this, and its journey from circulation to becoming one of the most sought-after pieces in the numismatic market is nothing short of extraordinary. When we talk about Australian coinage in the 1970s, we are looking at a period marked by stability in design, yet full of subtle varieties, minting errors, and proof strikes that can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure worth thousands. At the center of this narrative is Queen Elizabeth II herself, whose effigy adorned every Australian coin after the country switched to decimal currency in 1966. By 1974, the portrait by Arnold Mackin was well established, featuring the youthful queen wearing the tiara given to her by her grandmother, Queen Mary. This iconic image has become one of the most enduring royal portraits in coinage history, and its presence on the 1974 issues adds regal elegance to what would otherwise be ordinary currency. But as collectors know, it is not only the portrait or the denomination that creates value. It is a combination of rarity, condition, minting quirks, and collector demand. The 1974 Elizabeth II Australian coin captures all of these qualities, making it a legendary piece for numismatists. To truly appreciate why this coin has reached such staggering prices at auction, we must consider the minting conditions of the era. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was responsible for producing the nation's coinage, and like every year, coins were struck in massive quantities for circulation. However, in 1974, proof sets and specimen strikes were produced in limited numbers for collectors, and these sets have since become incredibly scarce. Proof coins differ from circulation strikes because of their mirror-like finish, sharp details, and carefully prepared dies. A 1974 proof Elizabeth II coin in pristine condition, especially graded at the highest levels like PR69 or PR70, commands immense attention at auction. In fact, some of these proofs have crossed into the realm of being considered museum quality, with prices reflecting their near-perfect preservation. Circulated coins from the same year might only fetch face value, but once you enter the realm of high-grade proofs or rare errors, the story changes dramatically. One notable aspect of the 1974 issue is the presence of error coins, strikes with misaligned dies, off-centers, double strikes, or planchet flaws. Error coins are always exciting for collectors because their uniqueness ensures that no two are exactly alike. A 1974 Elizabeth II error coin in uncirculated condition has sold for thousands of dollars, far beyond the expectations of casual collectors. This blend of rarity, historical context, and collector obsession is what makes the 1974 Elizabeth II coins from Australia so desirable. Now let's delve into the historical context that adds an extra layer of meaning to this coin. The year 1974 was significant for Australia in many ways. Economically, the country was grappling with inflation and the aftereffects of global financial pressures. Politically, Australia was in the midst of transformative years under Prime Minister Gough Whitlam, with sweeping reforms in education, healthcare, and international relations. Against this backdrop, coinage may seem like a small detail, but it actually reflects the stability of national symbols during times of change. Queen Elizabeth II's portrait served as a reminder of Australia's ties to the Commonwealth, and coins of this era became part of everyday life for millions of Australians. When you hold a 1974 Elizabeth II coin, you are not just holding a piece of metal. You are holding a tangible connection to history, a symbol of an era when the world itself was shifting rapidly. This historical importance is one of the reasons collectors place such high value on these coins. Beyond their metallic composition, they embody moments in time, political shifts, and cultural continuity. For collectors, that sense of history is priceless. Another fascinating element about the 1974 Elizabeth II coin is its survival rate in high grades. Coins that entered circulation were often heavily used, scratched, and worn down, reducing their collectible value. To find one in uncirculated or mint state condition is rare, and the grading system developed by the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PGS, helps us determine just how special these surviving pieces are. A 1974 coin graded MS-66 or MS-67, for example, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on demand. The rarity increases exponentially with each grade level, because so few coins survive with perfect surfaces and luster. Add to this the occasional presence of a die variety, small differences in design elements caused during production, and you have a recipe for collector frenzy. Some varieties of the 1974 coin feature minor differences in lettering or portrait details, and while they may be subtle, for a serious collector, these distinctions make all the difference. Auction records confirm this trend, with prices climbing higher every time one of these rare pieces appears in the market. But what really grabs headlines is when a coin like the 1974 Elizabeth II proof set sells for astronomical amounts at auction. There are documented cases where these sets have gone for tens of thousands of dollars, especially when certified at the highest grade. Collectors from around the world, not just Australia, bid fiercely for them, recognizing their international importance. For many, owning a 1974 Elizabeth II coin is about more than just investment. It is about holding a piece of royal and national history that has withstood the test of time. Coin shows and exhibitions often highlight these coins, drawing in enthusiasts who marvel at their design and rarity. The sense of prestige that comes with owning such a coin cannot be overstated. It is not just another collectible. It is a symbol of numismatic excellence. As we reflect on why the 1974 Elizabeth II Australian coin has become so valuable, it becomes clear that its appeal is multifaceted. It combines beauty, history, rarity, and condition into a package that resonates deeply with collectors. The story of this coin reminds us that value is not always about the face value stamped on the metal, but about the narrative it carries, the craftsmanship it represents, and the passion it inspires among those who seek it. For the casual viewer who might wonder why anyone would pay thousands of dollars for a single coin, the answer lies in the world of numismatics itself, a world where history, art, and investment meet. Each coin has a story, and the 1974 Elizabeth II Australian coin tells a story worth remembering. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into coins, the lesson here is clear. Always look closely, because sometimes the most ordinary-looking coin in your pocket could be worth a fortune. And as the 1974 issue proves, with the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector passion, even a small piece of metal can become one of the most expensive treasures. Last step, where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today's video is dedicated to one of the most mysterious and highly collectible coins from Australia, the 1975 Elizabeth II coin. While at first glance, this coin may seem like just another piece of circulating currency, the truth is that certain 1975 coins bearing the image of Queen Elizabeth II have become incredibly sought after by collectors and investors. In this video, we'll dive into the history, design, minting details, errors, varieties, and the fascinating stories behind these coins that have pushed their value to extraordinary heights. So sit back, relax, and join me for a 45-minute deep dive into the most expensive Elizabeth II 1975 Australian coin. To begin, let's set the stage with a little history. The year 1975 was a notable time in Australia's history. Queen Elizabeth II was well into her reign, and her effigy had already become a familiar sight on Australian coinage. Decimal currency had been introduced less than a decade earlier, in 1966, which means that coins from the 1970s still carry the novelty of a relatively new system. Coins bearing Elizabeth II's portrait were struck in denominations such as the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, and 50 cent pieces, and later the $1 and $2 coins, though those higher denominations came much later. In 1975, most coins were still in copper and copper nickel, but some minting quirks and low mintages have made a few surviving coins incredibly rare. The obverse of the 1975 Australian coins features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Mackin. This portrait is elegant and regal, showing the Queen facing right, wearing the tiara that was often seen in official portraits. This effigy became standard across many Commonwealth nations, and in Australia, it was used for decades. Collectors often identify coins by the portrait, since each portrait change marks an important era in the history of Australian coinage. The reverse, of course, varies depending on the denomination. For example, The 1-cent coin displays a feathertail glider. The 2-cent coin shows a frilled neck lizard. The 5-cent coin features echidna. The 10-cent coin, the lyrebird. The 20-cent coin, the platypus. And the 50-cent coin, the Australian coat of arms. All of these designs have become iconic symbols of Australian coinage. But in 1975, subtle differences in production levels made some coins much scarcer than others. Now, let's talk about rarity. Not every 1975 Elizabeth II coin is worth a fortune. In fact, most of them can still be found in circulation or sold for only a small premium above face value. However, certain mint state examples, proof coins, and error coins from 1975 have become incredibly desirable. For instance, some 1975 coins were produced with striking errors, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, or planchet flaws. These errors were unintentional at the time of production, but today they are treasures in the eyes of collectors. Depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin, prices can climb into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One of the most valuable varieties from 1975 is the proof issue. Proof coins were specially made for collectors, with polished dies and planchets, producing a mirror-like surface and razor-sharp details. These coins were not meant for circulation, and their mintages were very limited. A 1975 proof set from a Royal Australian Mint, if kept in pristine condition, can fetch significant amount at auction today, especially if the coins remain untouched, free from toning, and sealed in their original packaging. Collectors who specialize in proof sets often pay premiums to complete their series, and the 1975 set has become increasingly desirable due to its relative scarcity and historical significance. The 50-cent coin of 1975, in particular, deserves special mention. By the early 1970s, the round silver 50-cent coins of 1966 had already been withdrawn because their silver content exceeded their face value. These were replaced by the dodecagonal 12-sided 50-cent made of copper nickel. The 1975 50-cent, featuring the coat of arms, is not considered scarce in circulation. However, in high grades, especially in proof or uncirculated condition, it becomes much more desirable. Collectors pay close attention to strike quality, surface preservation, and luster. A gem-quality 1975 50-cent coin can command strong prices on a collector's market. Another interesting detail comes from the international coin market. Australian coins featuring Elizabeth II are not only collected in Australia, but also across the Commonwealth and globally. This means that demand for 1,975 coins extends well beyond national borders. In recent years, auctions have seen remarkable bidding wars for rare varieties and pristine proof examples. Prices that once hovered in the modest range have now climbed significantly, making the 1975 Elizabeth II coins a hot topic among serious numismatists. Let's now take a closer look at error coins, since they often form the backbone of what makes a common coin extraordinarily expensive. Imagine finding a 1975 2-cent coin with a double die obverse, where the Queen's portrait shows a ghost-like doubling effect, or a 1-cent coin with a significant off-center strike, where part of the design is missing altogether. These kinds of errors transform everyday coins into collectibles worth hundreds or thousands of times their face value. In one notable case, a 1975 coin with a major die crack across the Queen's portrait sold at auction for several $1,000s because of its rarity and the dramatic nature of the error. It's also important to discuss grading, since the condition of a coin can make or break its value. Coins are graded on a scale that runs from poor, fair, good, and fine all the way up to extremely fine, almost uncirculated and mint state. Professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can assign a numerical grade from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. For a 1975 Elizabeth II coin, an uncirculated example with full luster and no visible marks might grade MS65 or higher, which can multiply its value many times over compared to a circulated coin. Collectors often compete fiercely for the highest graded examples, knowing that their rarity makes them excellent long-term investments. Another factor driving the price of 1,975 coins is their place in the larger narrative of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. Coins are not just money, they are also historical artifacts. A coin from 1975 is now half a century old, and as the decades pass, surviving examples in high condition naturally become scarcer. With the passing of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, interest in coins bearing her portrait surged dramatically. Collectors sought to acquire keepsakes from every year of her reign, and coins from the mid-1970s became especially popular. This surge in demand has caused auction prices for rare 1975 pieces to skyrocket. To give a few examples of value, while most 1975 coins in circulated condition are worth only a few cents above their face value, an uncirculated 1975 proof set can easily sell for hundreds of dollars. Error coins, depending on their severity and uniqueness, can command prices ranging from several hundred to several $1,000s. For instance, a 1975 20-cent coin with a dramatic off-metal strike once sold at auction for a sum that shocked even experienced collectors, proving that rarity and arrow